I'm Eamonn Mara, and this is Recharted on Radioactive.fm. Every week I talk to a New Zealand band about what they've been up to, where they're from, and where they're going next, with thanks to New Zealand On-Air Music. This week on Recharted, I talk to Daniel Johann Lines, who makes music under the name Adorn 1996, a genre-bending Wellington musician originally from Golden Bay.
Yeah, so Daniel Johann Lines is my name, and I make music under Adorn 1996, and Daniel Johann and Sylvia Pell, and previously Suicide by Cop, and I was part of the band Daniel Laurie and also some other band. But yeah, that's what I do.
I talked to Daniel about the success of his first release under the name Sylvia Pell, the struggles of balance between fans' expectations and making the music you want, a house fire that destroyed his musical equipment, and the release of his album World Anti-God Freedom X. Adorn 1996 is a perfect example of a very exciting wave of music emerging from young people. Born into an era where they're more comfortable making music alone in a bedroom than in a garage with friends, and are equally influenced by and seamlessly blend indie, electronica, folk and hip-hop into something so naturally and effortlessly genre-bending and experimental.
Well, Adorn 1996, I guess the main characterization for the genres I play in is that there isn't I don't really tend to stick to one kind of sound. I mean, there is an Adorn 1996, I guess, signature kind of sound, but it's like I have a lot of folk influences, a lot of electronica, a lot of more ambient kind of influences as well, finding their way in there.
As a teenager living between Golden Bay and Nelson, Daniel recorded an album under the name Sylvia Pell, titled Melancholy, and released it on Bandcamp for Pay What You Like.
Well, with Sylvia Pell, it was kind of recorded in between my own home and a friend of mine's home. A friend of mine had another friend's drum kit and all of their guitars and stuff all kind of put in this one garage that their mum owned, and we were just kind of, I was in a band back then, Daniel Laurie, and we were awful, but the music still exists out there if anyone's interested. But yeah, I was in that band, and that was kind of the place where we would all go practice, and then it was kind of natural that I would just kind of practice on all of these multiple instruments and kind of hone my skills, and that was kind of what Melancholy was about, me trying to do as much as humanly possible on one record. Although my friend Ike did play drums on a couple of songs.
Although almost completely unheard of in New Zealand, something about Sylvia Pell spoke to a certain type of fan, and for a self-recorded, self-released album with little to no promotion, Melancholy exploded.
Yeah, so that album kind of haunts me to this day. I kind of released it under the Sylvia Pell name as like a placeholder kind of thing, because it was just like, you know, I was releasing music. It was the first thing I'd ever really put my heart and soul into, but I didn't quite know what to name it, so I just kind of named it Sylvia Pell, and then, yeah, it kind of caught on, and now I'm stuck with that name, and I'm stuck with people trying to pronounce the name over and over again, just Sylvia Plath? Sylvia Plath? Sylvia Plath? Like, it's a bit of a hellhole for me.
As of this recording, a fan upload of Sylvia Pell's song I Was All Over Her has over 130,000 views on YouTube. The Sylvia Pell Facebook page has over 2,500 fans. Sylvia Pell's music sparked an intense connection with fans who leave messages on YouTube and Facebook like, "I am crying tears of joy, I have finally found this song," and "I've been in a rough patch lately, but I found your song I Was All Over Her and discovered your music. It's really been helping me, and I wanted to take time to say thank you, and you're cute as a button."
Well, I guess I would attribute the success of Melancholy mainly to my own interests at the time, which were, you know, the whole Tumblr emo scene. It was 2012. You've got to give me some slack for that, but I was very into Teen Suicide, the band, and that's what the name is. The name of the band was named after. They have a song called Sylvia Plath, and I misread the name originally, so that's why it's Sylvia Pell. I kind of just stuffed up there.
After moving to Wellington to study sonic arts at the New Zealand School of Music, Daniel set on recording his follow-up to Melancholy under a new name, Adorn 1996.
I was kind of just born out of my frustration with my current name. Like, it was just like, oh man, I really regret naming my project Sylvia Pelth now. Like, what am I gonna do? So I just kind of cut it short and just changed name. And that's kind of the reason why the first two releases with Adorn 1996 were so rock orientated, because it was from a very similar project that actually got lost when my house burnt down.
Winter, the Lost Adorn 1996 album, was recorded in 2014, intending to bridge the gap between the music loved by Daniel's fans and the music he wanted to make.
So I recorded an album called Winter in the space between the release of Melancholy and when my house burnt down last year. And it was kind of an expansion on the sounds of Melancholy, I guess. A lot more. The songs were really long, like 7-minute songs that have, most of them is just 4 minutes of just the same chords and droning vocals. But yeah, it was kind of me trying to create an album that was the same but different, and kind of trying to make a rock album that was much better than the one I'd previously put out. But then, as I said, my house burnt down and I lost my laptop, not due to a fire or anything. I lost it due to a burst pipe above my room, which I think is a bit ironic. So a pipe burst, destroyed all my electronic equipment, and all I had was just a full a WAV file of the whole album uploaded to Mediafire for my friend to listen to. So that's where the first two singles for Adorn 1996 came from. But yeah, it was originally intended to be given a full release, but never really made it because I wasn't very happy with the final, what was the mix at the time. The original idea behind Winter was kind of trying to ease my fans into what I wanted to actually do, rather than the music that I'd previously made, because at the time I was really into that kind of pop rock thing, but then as I slowly began to open my mind more to pop music, electronic music, that kind of stuff, I kind of wanted to just make different music essentially. And there's a lot of, well, not a lot, but there are some sections on Winter where there's a lot of vocal manipulation and things like that, which are something that I quite often use in my current Adorn 1996 project. And Winter was kind of intended as a way to kind of let the fans I already had of Sylvia Pelth, who are all into rock music and don't listen to Rihanna or anything, kind of give them something before I move on completely.
Daniel used the opportunity of losing everything to start fresh and turn fully into the sound that characterises Adorn 1996 today. The first song on the resulting album, a re-recording of the soul single from Winter, Went Home About It, is representative of the shift from the emotional guitar-based music from Wellington to the sound of the current Adorn 1996.
Yeah, well, originally the plan I had after I lost all of my songs in the fire was to just recreate the entire Winter album, and that was Went Home About It was the first song that I recorded on Anti-God Fred Max. It's also the first track on the album, and yeah, so we recorded this this kind of very stripped back version of Went Home About It, which was my favourite song off Winter, so I wanted to kind of give that priority. But then I kind of realised I didn't really want to do a stripped back collection of songs. I wanted to do a very maximalist collection of music where I'm trying my hardest at all points to make a lot of sound. And so I kind of just, originally it started with me adding some horns to the stripped back recording, some MIDI horns, and then I got a bit too into it, I think, and created this insane kind of rap beat out of free samples off the internet, of this like DJ Tags website. And yeah, kind of that was the first electronic song for that album that I made, and it kind of defined the tone of the album from the onset.
If you the real hustler, you know what it is. DJ slash producer. Yo, that's all we got. I'm known for that.
Yo, KT rocks the mic. That's a true MC. Freestyle, rap for you.
No mixtape, the perfect beat.
When it's rap, it's
Yo, Southside, check it out. Hey, bro, yo, one drum. Hey, sister.
You know how we do.
The resulting album, World Anti-God Freedom X, was released in January of 2015 and is an exceptional collection of music that feels incredibly contemporary and authentic, something that could only be recorded by a young person living in the mid-2010s.
Yeah, so World Anti-God Freedom X was kind of recorded mostly in my own home, except for the first track, which was recorded in a friend's house. And it was kind of just me trying to find my kind of feet as an electronic music producer through a lot of very experiments with a lot of gusto, I'd say, like a lot of very enthusiastic genre experiments that kind of use a lot of different influences. And yeah, my kind of my headspace throughout the whole thing was I was quite paranoid and very anxious, and I was having a lot of kind of epileptic fits, which is something that I suffer from. And so I created this very kind of dystopian almost album, I would say. Like, it's quite scary in parts, but also a lot of pop influences.
Since the release of World Anti-God Freedom X, Daniel has released 2 Adore 1996 singles and 2 under the name Daniel Johann, and has been working on a new EP.
Sometime later this year, I'll get around to releasing my new EP, which is called Hounds. It's 4 songs long, and it's the best collection of music I've made to date, I believe. But yeah, I'm just waiting on a remix from somebody and a music video from somebody else, and then it'll come out eventually.
That was Daniel Johann Lines from Adore 1996. You can listen to and download his music at adore1996.bandcamp.com and salviapath.bandcamp.com. And here is Shepherd from the upcoming Adore 1996 EP, Hounds.
Recharted was produced by Eamonn Mara for Radioactive.fm with thanks to New Zealand On Air Music.